Yo, what's going on, dudes? It is Toasted Tater here, back again with another title update information video for you guys on the new title update that just came out for Minecraft for all consoles. Hope you do all enjoy, subscribe for future content, and if you're new, and of course, let's get right into it. In the background gameplay, there has been a new feature added, which was the Woodland Mansion, and I will get into that in the video. But I hope you guys do all enjoy the Woodland Mansion gameplay. I have me and Drayton. You guys probably have seen him already in my previous videos, so me and him went into the Woodland Mansion. We did a bunch of stuff right there. So without further ado, let's go through all the things that I thought were the highlights of this update. So the first thing I really want to talk about is dyed beds. We can now dye beds to any color in the game. You can tie them to blue, purple, white, any color, but the only downside of this is if you're playing in survival, you're gonna have to get all the same type of color of wool if you want a bed. So I think that was just kind of a downside, but it's pretty cool how we have dyed beds now. I might be using them in some of my builds, I might not be. Not too sure, but I thought that's a pretty cool feature that they added in. Now, the real big thing that's really to this update is the Woodland Mansion update. So as you guys are seeing in the background, Woodland Mansion, it is the full entire Woodland Mansion. It is, of course, playing in the background for you guys. I hope you guys do all enjoy. But let's go ahead and basically tell what this is. So if you guys don't know what the Woodland Mansion is, it's a woodland mansion, exactly what it says, but they are found in several locations around the map. If you have a large map in your survival world, you can actually find villagers and you can find treasure maps to actually find these woodland mansions. Note, you can't get in creative the treasure maps because it's a creative world, and if it's in super flat, you can't really find one. The mobs that came with the Woodland Mansion update were the Vex, the Evokers, and the Vindicators. So the Evokers are the ones that will hold the axes. You guys have probably already seen them in there. They grunt, they're really mean, very scary. They hold axes and they go trying to chop you up, as you can see in this background gameplay of the Woodland Mansion. Very, very menacing type of creatures. And let's move on to the two next mobs into this update, which are the Vindicator and the Vex. So what the Vindicator does, it actually spawns the Vex, and what the Vindicator does, he spawns in the Vex, and he actually does like a tidal wave towards you along the ground, dealing damage. It's really, really harmful. As you can see, you will see it's in the background gameplay. And the Vex are these flying little angels with iron swords, really, really devastating. You don't want these guys on you, because if they do, they will murder you and they will just tickle yourself. So don't do that. They'll murder you endlessly. So whatever you do, try to kill the Vindicators as fast as possible if you encounter one. Those are the three mobs that came into with the Woodland Mansion update, as several with other mobs in this update. So that is what we are going to move on to next, which is the new mobs that came into the update. So the main highlights for the new mobs were the Vex, Evokers, Vindicators, and the two new ones that just came into the update, which are Llamas and Parrots. Llamas, for the longest time, were a joke, and people were joking about on how they would not come into the game, and it'd be pretty funny if they actually added them. But long and behold, we have llamas. So it's kind of weird how like it's something we all joked about in the comments and like all suggested that, and now it's actually in the game. If you guys really want to consider it, it's kind of an upgraded donkey a little bit, because you don't need a saddle, so that's one thing. Saddles are pretty hard to find. What you need to tame llamas, though, is, of course, you still need to get on them. And to ride them, you actually need a carpet so you can actually ride them. And you have to have some leads to lead them along. And you can have some more space with the chest. So I think that's a really, really... I think it's a better upgrade from the donkey, personally, because you can hold more space, I do believe, and it's just better overall. And the cool feature is, if you guys didn't know, if you actually hit one of these llamas, they will actually spit at you with a little animation, and you'll get half a heart taken away from you. So I thought that was pretty cool. Moving on, though, the Parrots have been introduced into this update as well. If you can tame them with seeds, and whatever you do, do not feed them items that would be harmful. For example, cocoa beans or cookies, I do believe. If you feed them that, they will actually die. So be careful for what you feed them. And if you actually, here's a fun fact as well. if you have a jukebox, and if you have parrots around you, and if you play that music in the jukebox, they will actually start partying and dancing around. So I think that's pretty cool how they have that feature. In the change logs and the screenshots that they had before, they were rainbow. But I guess they just changed it to where they just are in their regular selves and just dancing. Now here are some other mobs that were introduced as well into the egg form. We already had these mobs before, but we couldn't physically get them in creative. So they were the wither skeleton, the zombie villager, the husk, the stray, the zombie and skeleton horse, and the elder guardian. So those were all of the 8 mobs that were in the game, or in the game files, but they were not like accessible to, like, you know, create a menu and stuff. Like, honestly, I'm gonna be using a bunch of those mobs. I'll be using the wither skeleton and stuff like that. Really cool how they added in the mobs. I thought it was pretty cool how they added in the mobs, because now, you know, you can do a lot more things with the mobs instead of waiting for another update, you know. So I thought that was pretty cool how they added those in. People are really saying that this really is just the mob update. I think that is too. Of course, the Woodland Mansion with the 3 new mobs, the Vex, Evokers, and Vindicator. But honestly, this is more of a mob type of update, and it's actually pretty good how we got those mobs with this update. From moving on, though, we got the observer block for redstone. So if you guys are not familiar with the observer block is where if an adjacent block is moved or changed, it will output a redstone signal. For example, if you have an observer block, if you have a redstone signal going out, and if you're placing a block, it will emit a redstone signal. If you break the block, it will turn off, or it will emit another redstone pulse. I'm going to be testing a bunch of things out. I could probably even change up my redstone shops for my money wars and stuff like that with the observer block. I'm going to have to change up a bunch of things, though, if I really want to do that. But I thought that was pretty cool how they added in observer blocks with this update. So, yeah, that's really, the observer blocks. Nothing really too, you know, nothing too fancy about that. But moving on, though, let's go on to some little secret features for you guys, because I was digging around and I saw some secret features for you guys. So some secret features, the first secret feature, it has to do with the evokers, the one with the axe, nature's wrath. They be chopping you up every day, every night. Yeah, those guys, they actually have a Easter egg to them, and it's actually pretty cool, because if you actually name an evoker Johnny, he will literally go on a killing spree. So, if you have a regular evoker, and if you put him in a room of sheep, just a regular one, not named Johnny, he will not kill everybody. He'll just stand there, he'll look at the sheep, he won't do anything. But, if you name him Johnny, he will go on a killing spree and kill everything around him. If you guys don't know what this reference is from, it is from The Shining. It's kind of obvious. I thought that was pretty cool how they added in that Easter egg from The Shining. But moving on, though, the second thing I really want to talk about, which I didn't talk about, honestly, let's move away from the secret features. What I really want to talk about now is they introduced 2 new enchantments and one new brand item. So those items are the Totem of Undying, the Curse of Vanishing, and the Curse of Binding. I'm sorry that I didn't introduce it when I was talking about the Woodland Mansions, but let's just keep talking about it. So the Totem of Undying, what it really does is when the holder or the wielder is holding it, they will not die. It will have a little animation. It will give you Absorption 2 and Regeneration 2 just to regenerate your health. But basically what this does is if you fall off a cliff, or if you're in PvP, you can save yourself with the Totem of Undying. It kind of looks like a doll, really, with green eyes there. But if you're in PvP and if you're backed into a corner, you can hold one of those things out. You can basically die, but have enough time to chug or eat a super golden apple to keep yourself into the fight. I personally will probably be using this if it's legal in some PvP servers. I might even add it into my new kit PvP server. If you guys aren't aware that I'm going to be adding in a new kit PvP server sooner or later. Of course, that will be in the future for you guys. But I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, you can't have the update without Totem of Undying, so I'll be doing a bunch of things with that. Now, the 2 new enchantments are actually curses. Of course, I told you that. They are marked on the creative menu, and they're actually red. You can get them in survival, and I will be explaining to you guys what they actually do. So, the Curse of Vanishing, if any item, a block, a sword, an armor piece, if anything has that enchantment on it, and if you die while holding it, or if it's in your inventory, it will vanish and it will disappear forever. So what this basically does, so example, if you're walking out into the wilderness and you have, unfortunately, you have a diamond sword with a vanishing one, Curse of Vanishing one, right? So you go out, you get killed, you go back to your stuff, but you notice that your diamond sword is gone because it has that enchantment on it. So if you don't want anything to disappear, whatever you do not put that vanishing book on, for it will vanish anything that it touches. I think that's a pretty cool, like, enchantment book, but of course, I don't know if I'm going to be using it for a minigame wise, feature, but I'm still figuring out what to do with that feature. But the second book, though, is Curse of Binding. So if you guys don't know what Curse of Binding is, it takes a piece of whatever enchantment it has on a piece of armor. For example, if you had it on a helmet, Curse of Binding Helmet 1, alright? So pretend you had that. In survival, if you put that helmet on, you cannot take it off until you die. So, you could have yourself a full set of armor, but you accidentally have yourself a chest plate with Curse of Binding or a helmet. It doesn't matter. It has to be an armor piece. It can't be a weapon or a sword or anything like that. It has to be an armor piece. It will stick onto them. They can't take it off until they die. So, it's kind of a troll, really, if you really want to troll somebody. And I'll get into the second secret feature in a second there, but that is really what the 3 new items actually came into the game. So the Totem of Undying will stop you from dying, if, of course, if you're holding it in your second hand, or if you're just holding it in your other hand, right? Okay. 2 new enchantments, Curse of Binding, Curse of Vanishing. I thought those were pretty cool, how they added those in as well. And they added in also 2 new mobs as well. I forgot to say this as well. They added 2 variants of a mob. So, for example, the villager right now, there's a bunch of variants, the librarian, blacksmith, all those type of things. But now you can actually get a cartographer, and those will actually sell you maps, treasure maps, to go to the actual wooden mansion that you guys are seeing in the background right now. So you can't get these, you cannot get these maps in creative, because if you're on a super flat world, of course, you're not going to find one, right? So if you find one of these cartographers, whatever they're pronounced, you can actually buy these treasure maps, and it will direct you to a woodland mansion. And I think that's pretty cool how they added that in. And also, too, they added in the green villager. And if you guys don't know what the green villager is, he is called the Nitwick. And he does nothing. He's just there just to sit around, take up space. I'm probably going to replace all of my villagers at spawn area, for those who know my spawn area, and basically let them just say some things, and so people can't trade with them. I thought that was pretty cool how they added in those 2 variants of the villager. But moving on, though, we have covered everything on the list that was really the main highlights of this. Now let's move on to the secret features. I already told you the first secret feature, where if you rename an evoker to Johnny, it will go on a killing spree. Now let's go on to the second secret feature, which is the Binding Pumpkin. So like I told you guys, with the Binding perk, if you put on any type of armor with Binding on, you cannot take it off until you die. So you can actually use the Binding Pumpkin as a troll method. So you could go ahead and you can put yourself a dispenser in the ground, put a pressure plate over it, and put that Binding Pumpkin in. Tell your friends that pressure plate will give you diamonds or diamond armor or anything that you want them to believe in doing. So when they step on the pressure plate, they'll actually get a Binding Pumpkin on them. So I thought that was a pretty cool troll method. I will be definitely putting I'll be definitely trolling my friends with that method, so anybody watching, if you're my friends or viewers and stuff like that, you better watch out, because I'll be probably doing something a little funky with you guys. But moving on, though, we are going on to the third secret feature, which is Elytra armor stands. So what now you can do is you can now put Elytras on your armor stands. That is right, ladies and gentlemen, we can put your armor stands on... you can put your Elytras on your armor stands, so now you can't just have your Elytra in your inventory or just in a spare chest. Before you couldn't do this, and I think that they just... it was kind of weird how they didn't have it before. But now we have it, and I think that's a pretty cool feature that they added in. So now let's move on to the fourth secret feature that I found out, and it is the last secret feature, and it is where you can have more than one wither. So in the previous update, you can only have one wither at a time, and maybe two if you went very, very, very far away. But I tested this out right when the update turned out. I saw a glitch with the Ender Dragon, because in my map, I still have the Ender Dragon alive. I don't kill him, I don't do anything with him. So, the two of the bars were glitched, and I thought to myself, well, what happens if you can have more than one wither? So I exited the game, I tried it out, and a matter of fact, you can actually have more than one wither, but the downside of this is that you're gonna have a kind of a misty fog in your map. So for my maps, it's kind of cool in a sense, because my spawn area is all based around space and time and all that type of subject matter, so I think it's pretty cool, but for some people, they might not like it. It's pretty cool how you can have multiple withers now, just like in before, how it was a glitch, but now I guess they made, I don't know if this is a glitch. I hope it's not a glitch, because it's really, really cool to have more than one wither. You can have up to 5 withers now. I'm not too sure if you can have 5 withers in one area. Go far away and make 5 more. I'm pretty sure you can probably do that. I didn't test that out at the time, but I'm pretty sure you can probably do that. So there's another little secret feature there to have more than 5 withers in the same world if you probably go somewhere else. That's probably gonna happen for that for the feature there. That's basically it. So overall, this is the highlights dyed beds of all there's dyed beds. There you go. All the colors of the rainbows dyed in beds. So if you guys want all the colors of the rainbow of the beds, you guys can have that. The Woodland Mansion update with the Vex, Evokers, and the Vindicators with the Totem of Undying and the 2 new enchantment books. Curse of Binding and Curse of Vanishing had been introduced in the game, as well with new mobs as the Llamas and Parrots have made a appearance into the game, as well with the Elder Guardian, Zombie / Skeleton Horse, Stray, Husk, Zombie Villager, and Wither Skeleton have made it into the game. They were previously in the game, but not really accessible. And then we have the Observer blocks, which are introduced to us as well with Redstone, and the 4 secret features that I introduced, where if you renamed Evoker Johnny from the Shining film, he'll go on a killing spree. If you put Binding on a pumpkin, you can do some really cool trolling methods. You can now put Elytras on armor stands, and now you can have more than one wither in your world. So that's basically all the things, very just like all summed up at the end here. And now, really, what I want to talk about, because people have been really asking me, is what the hell is going on with the prison. I have been doing a lot of building with the prison, and in Cell Block 4, everything is literally done. All I have to do is just add in a little more details and the redstone. After I do that, it's all done. Basically, all the cell areas would be done. I just had to add in the detail and finish the Cell Block 4 shop, because that is really what I'm working on right now. So yeah, I'll update you guys later on in the future on really what's going on. But I hope you guys did all enjoy this title update video. Subscribe for future content, and if you're new. And of course, I will see all you dudes in the next one. Peace out, and I'll see you later.